Okay, we're gonna start the polishing. Now you're gonna need an air compressor for this part of the project. This was my old one, this is my new one. I just use it as a second tank. Uh, this thing's not really good for continuous run, which would be awesome if it is, but it's all I got. I'm not going out and buying, I don't have a 220 outlet anyhow, so we're gonna use this. I run it for a little bit at a time, depending on the tools for the sanding. I've already done this. I only really need about 50 psi to run the sander. That helps it stay long, in use longer. When we get to the with the polishing, you need full boost. You need at least 100 psi, but we're not there. All right, you're gonna need a little workstation. It's easiest if you stand up and do it. You can do it sitting on the ground. This would be 100 times easier, sitting up on a table like this. I wear gloves the whole time. Just the tool gets really cold, to be honest, with the compressed air. That keeps it down and the vibration in your hand. Goggles, of course. There's going to be metal flying everywhere. I strongly suggest a mask or you're going to be huffing aluminum. And so, what we're going to start with here, and then you'll want 2 blocks of wood as well. That'll keep the wheel. It's going to want to roll as you rotate it back, up, and forth. Alright, we're going to start with the intricacies. Your intricacies are going to be in here, your corners. This wheel specifically had these blanks drilled. Here's your lug nut holes. I'm not worried about polishing those, but these blanks. So we're going to start off with a 120. I have a 120 grit, but 180 is what we'll use to sand this. We'll get into that. But right now we're going to work on the holes. So this will be 120, and I'm going to do the inside of these holes. I'll just do the round part right here for where the lugs are, and then I'm going to do each corner right here with this as well, and maybe out just a little bit. I mean, it's pretty wide, so we'll do that. So I will do all of those, and then you can move on to the next step. But that's the first step. As you can see, I've taped this. This is metal, so if you accidentally catch it, it's going to want to mar it. That'll protect the metal, keep it from doing that. So as you can see, I've installed a little light here. This isn't permanent, but I mean, it's right on my work area where I'm going to be really spending a lot of time. This is a process, and the air compressor, I've got it all the way over there. I don't want to listen to it. Normally it sits right next to me. It's going to be running a lot. Definitely need ear protection. You're going to have this thing, the exhaust on this is right here. Of course, it's going to be like right in your ear. Earplugs. In fact, I actually purchased some gun shooting range earmuffs to go along with that, because it's just so loud and you are here for so many hours just grinding away at this. It'll make you go deaf. So that's it. I'll get started. I'll go ahead and polish this. I'm not going to videotape me polishing it, and then we'll come back and show you what I did. So come back in a few minutes and show you what I did. Okay, we're done. We've done all our intricate corners. Let's see if you can see in there. The best way to know when you're going to be done with something is we're trying to get rid of the casting. So once you see it smooth and you don't see any lines or casting, especially from your scraper, you're going to see a lot of little lines from your scraper as long as you didn't dig too hard. You're going to want to do that, and then just use this, and you just back and forth and around there. These things normally have a tip. I broke the tip off. Makes this softer a little bit. Plus, if the metal starts to poke, it really starts to gouge it, and you got to start over. And then I came down here, and I just did this one. I went that way, and then I came in at that. Oops! I came in at that angle, and then I came a little bit this way, and a little bit this way, and right here, because that's going to be a hard spot. Everywhere else is pretty open. So that was that. Took me about I don't know, 20 minutes. Just low boost, 60 psi. You don't have to crank it up for that, and you can see, that's the first grit of 120 or 180, what you can get. Now, the next step is in here. You would think, oh my goodness, that's going to be the hardest part. Actually, that is probably the easiest part to do. And here's why. We use these special pads here called square sanding pads. And they come in your chuck like that. and you put it, essentially it's square, but when you spin it, it becomes a circle. Come in here, zoom in. And as you're going around, you can just, you'll see this part is actually machined, this part is cast, and then they machine this part. So you can see the machining gears. And you sit here and you just do a little section at a time until you can't see the casting or the machining lines. And this is where the light and this, because you're going to be in here, you really got to see what you're doing. This tool is no joke. You will destroy your wheel instantly. And I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm going to plug this in just to show you how powerful and how quick you can dig a hole into this. Okay, see this? This logo right here? There's a logo right here, it's part of the casting. There was one right there. I'm going to plug the tool in and show you how long it takes to grind out that logo. Oh yeah, I use this stuff too. It's, I don't know what it is. It's almost like a wax, like a yellow wax grease. It helps cut, it keeps the dust down. It's just, let's say it's like WD-40 for drilling a hole, for grinding. It's a wonderful stuff. Put a little bit of that on there. Ready, set, go. Gone. That's how long it took to take that entire embossed casting logo out. It's not there anymore. There was another one. That's all it takes. So when you're grinding on this thing, this is about massage. It's being careful with it. It's taking only what you need off. If you sit in any spot for too long, you're going to groove it. Now you can get it back out, but you're going to create a big wave in the metal, and you're going to see it even when you polish it or just destroy the wheels. So this is about how smooth you can be and take your time. So that's done. So what we're going to do next is those two parts. Now, next part is these cross pads. You can see the little X. I will unscrew this one. Screw on is 180 grit. So was that. So, and then this thing again is going to make a circle once you spin it, and it's going to get everywhere else. For edges like this, you'll do it this way. When you do the wheel like the spokes, you're going to want to go this way and then flip it over and do it the other way. You don't want it cutting into this, because if it tries to catch that, it will destroy this pad instantly. These are not cheap. So I've already done, like I said, I've done a wheel. So I was able to use 4 pads per wheel. So you're getting roughly this much out of one pad before it destroys it. Now as it starts to wear, it gets smaller. Once it gets smaller, that's when you can get actually right in here and just do it real nice and get. So just to start, I'll start out here. This is easy. Then I'll start right here. And as it starts to get worn, then I can probably come out here and here. By that time, it should be getting pretty small. I'll start doing inside here, here, or maybe I'll start doing here, and just as you wear until the piece is gone, and then start over a new one. I usually do one pad, let my compressor take a break, come back. I'm not trying to kill it. It's pretty cool out, so it's not going to overheat or anything. And that's it. And so I will do that to the entire wheel, and that will get us same thing. Take your time. It will wear a groove, especially in here. This is where it's really going to want to groove. You can get in here. This is the biggest pain in the butt of the whole project, is this lip, because it's sitting down in there. But that thing will get right in there, but be real careful, and then you'll have a little lip but that it won't get, but we'll get there, and you'll just slowly get it. So back to grinding, but that's it, slowly but surely. Okay, we've just gone through, we did the 180 grit, and you can see the wheel. I mean, it's starting to look like it's sanded everywhere. You just want to sand till all the casting's out. You're going to want to wipe, because what you'll think is casting is just old aluminum stuff. So as you're going around, you just work your way around it with those tools, and with your cross wheels. And uh, so I did. So basically, did it in steps. One around the perimeter, and then I did a section right here, here, like in here. As this thing gets really small, it fits in here real nice. And it's going to depend on the type of wheel you're doing. And then I did a section here. And when you do this, you almost kind of want to make it like pretend you're a machine and you're machining this. You want to make even passes. Yeah, you can sit there and grind it out, but you're going to get waves in it. So if you just kind of go back and forth, you're doing a machining process. You're basically your own little cheap lathe. It's not perfect, but it will get it. It will get it over time. You may have to dig at it a little bit, but that in here is the absolute hardest part. What I ended up doing different compared to the first one is I ended up using the round sand scroll. Where did it go? I ended up using the sand scroll. I used this to do what I could in here, but there's still quite a gap in the end. And what I ended up doing was just coming in and then doing, this has got an actual lip. There's here and there's a little lip. And then I just did in here, out here, and then back and forth. And in the corner, I did the best I could, and I didn't do that the first time, and I thought that was much better to get that lip if your wheel had something similar to that. And then I actually ended up using the sand scrolls in here because the first wheel I did, when you did this, as you can see, it really started. It doesn't get in there very good, and you're trying to get some funky angle, and it kind of gouged it right there. So this time I just came in at this angle like here, stopped here, and let that round sand scroll, which actually worked really quick and easy. So that's it. That's it for the a 180 grit all the way around. And then we'll just go down to the 320. It's going to be the exact same process. As you can see, there's dust and dirt everywhere. It's a nasty job, but that's it. Total time to sand all the casting out, I want to say about 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Quite a bit of run time on the compressor, just sitting here grinding away. So, but I took my time. I was being careful, and I didn't want to gouge the metal and try to keep it as smooth and true as possible. So, we'll show another video when I'm done with all the 320. Will tell you this is when we're going to be going to. I've got a variable speed Dremel tool, and at this point we'll start to and of course you're going to need an extension. You're not going to dare try and hold that thing. It's another tool you're going to have, and then we're going to start using that 320 in this corners to get really in there really good, because I don't have any. If I had bigger sand scrolls that fit in this chuck, I would, but I don't have any finer ones, and really you do want to get in here and do a better job. So I'll basically start with that. Again, you'll do your intricacies first. So I'll go in here, around here, back and forth through here, in this little patch here. I'll do in here the same thing, and in here with that. And then I'll go to the cross pad with the 320, and then that section will be done. So I would imagine it's going to take roughly probably won't take nearly as much time, because getting the metal from flat to get all the casting out is quite a great. You're really beating on it. Now you're just basically sanding it smooth. So I'm gonna guess it's gonna be about half the time. So it's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours before. I bet I can do it in about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. So we'll keep track of it, but that should be it for now. So we'll come back when that one's done. All right, done quite a bit of work since the last video, partially because it's kind of self-explanatory. Last video we did the 180 in the corners and around it. It's the same thing with the 320. Same thing, I went around it. The only thing with the 320 is I started with the intricacies again. I have two types of sand scrolls. These are just a little bit. One's just a little bigger and smaller. They're both 320, and I would really kind of come and get in here, and I would just work with the Dremel, just back and forth, back and forth. I did that around the whole thing once, and it took a while. It took about a half hour, and then I actually did the 320 with the cross everywhere, and I did as best as I could in here with the 320. And then I came back and did the sand scrolls again. This is kind of getting to the finishing point, so you really want to spend as much time. After that, the 320, I used this little guy. What this is 400 grit emery paper that's been, or 40, I think it's 40 grit emery paper. It's been folded up in a square, and you put that in your Dremel. And this stuff is real fine. And this, you know, you really work this in this. And what you see is half this wheel. I don't know how good the video is, but you can see this is that emery. This is it right here. You can still see the marks. I did the entire wheel in this, and here, the best I could in the corners. There's really nothing you can do about the corner, but as good as you could everywhere. And I did the entire wheel. Now, once the wheel's at this point, you can't see it yet. I bought this foam ball. It's basically a scotch pad. And here's one I actually made. This is one I cut. So I bought two of them. I just used the shank. This is just a cut up one for the smaller ones. And what this does is instantly, when you run this over it, it smooths it out, and you can see any casting that may be left over. So you can do the really, just with the big one, you can do the perimeter. I don't worry about the inside of the spoke as much. It's just so hard to see. But visually, you see, you know, this part of the spoke. And so I ran across it, and for sure, I could still see some casting. Now, you could leave it, move it, you know, move on, but I want to get it as good as I can. So I did the 320 again with the cross blade, and then I quickly smoothed this. I mean, you can do all 5 of these spokes in a minute, less than 2 minutes. And then I did it again, and I saw it was smooth, and I was happy with it. So I have yet to go back over it with this yet, but I know it's good because I already checked it, because I did half this wheel. Now, at that point, you're done. You're done sanding on the wheel. Except for this is the big one. It's the wet sand. You take your 320 paper, bucket of water, and I've already wet sanded this by hand, this half of the wheel. That's why you don't see the marks in here. And what you're going to find is you're going to find some, as you start to sand, you're going to start to see, you know, the color change. You'll see a different new shade of gray pop up as you wet sand. And you'll start to see high and low spots. Like here's one right here. Oh, I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. I'm gonna have to come. Yeah, you can absolutely see those. You can polish this wheel just the way you see it, but you're gonna see that when you're polished. So I'm gonna sand that with my hand and my wet sand again. So I've already wet sanded this half, and this side is just 400 on the emery cloth. And then, as much time as you spend, the better it's gonna be. The wet sanding is a big step, so I'll go ahead and finish wet sand. I mean, you're talking about an hour or so. So how much time do I have? The round of 320 was not really any quicker because I spent so much time with the sand scrolls in here, because these are so hard to get and get the casting out. So it was about 2.5 hours for the 320, and then you're talking doing the whole wheel in this. It shouldn't take too long. It goes quick. That was probably another 30-40 minutes. And then you're talking about wet sanding and other. I mean, it's hours and hours and hours, but it's as good as you want it to be. So you can skip out, but the more time you hammer on it, the better it's going to look. So you can wet sand more. I just do 320, but you can wet sand more if you want. I wouldn't probably go over 400. It's not necessary. The polishing compound will get it out at the 320, 400 level. So probably just leave that there. But yeah, you just want to make sure these are smooth too. As you can see, these turned out real nice. So it's going to be a beautiful looking wheel, and I'll come back when I've done some more polishing.